Welcome everyone to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. I have here Miss Dee Woolridge, and she is going to tell us first off a little bit about herself and then about what she does. So, how are you today, Miss Dee?
Good morning. Good morning. I am doing great. It is a nice sunny day here in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, you're only about an hour away from me then. I'm in
That's
Kyle.
right. Yeah.
Mm. Kyle from Kyle, off of Kyle Parkway.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Wow. Look how the planets lined up for that.
Exactly. So, tell us about you.
I am a specialist on resilience, mindset, and communication, and I am a clinical hypnotherapist, life coach, speaker, author. I've been doing this work for almost 2 decades, and I transform lives. That's what I do for. It's my passion. It's my purpose, and that's how I make my money. But also, I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I have. I'm a mom to a daughter with autism. I have three bonus sons. I have some grandchildren, and I'm a child of um, a daughter who. How do I say this? I'm the ninth child of 13 siblings. My mom had 13 kids,
Wow.
so I grew up in Chicago, and all of that made me who I am right now. Oh, I'm also a military veteran. I forget that sometimes. I did 30, 30 over 30 years in the military as
Oh,
well.
well, thank you for your service.
Hmm.
I really appreciate that.
It was an honor to serve.
Well, believe me, we here at the Vibes, we appreciate our veterans. Really do. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we were actually having a conversation before we got on air, and we were talking about past life regression.
Hmm.
Now, I've told people whether you believe in it or not, I don't care if even if it was just a suggestion under hypnosis, it changed my life, my perspective. So, can we talk a little bit about your experience with PLR?
Yeah. So when I was going through hypnotherapy school, past life regression was it was something that we learned it in the fifth certification,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I wanted to learn hypnosis so that I can do that. I wanted to do all the spiritual work,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to get through all of the clinical things first before I learned how to do that. So I can say that past life regressions changed my life, because that's not what
Yes.
I do all the time. It's what I do um, some of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly what I do is the clinical work. It is the work that people need for to help with anxiety, with depression, with being stuck, with moving forward in their life in some way. When people call me for a past life regression, I ask them, why are you doing this? And they go, well, what do you mean? So this is what I look for. If they say, well, I'm having problems and I can't, I'm having problems with letting go of bad relationships. I have this pattern and I keep going into this pattern. Then I say, then that's not things that I would take you through a past life for. That's a
Mm-hmm.
this life thing. That's
Right.
something that we need to deal with here. But if they say, I want to explore my past lives, I have some unexplainable things um, in my current life. Like I always have this need to go to Europe, or I have some people in my lives that I just dream about and I know them before. Those are the things that I would say, okay, those are probably connected to your past life. So I separate the two. Now, I have had, when I've been working with people on their current life issues, they will pop back into a past life and then we deal with it then. But I really haven't had um, the opposite, where I've been working on people with past life and they pop in a current life thing. So I've been doing it long enough to know what the difference is. And so that's why I ask people, why can you please tell me why you want to do a past life? Are you just exploring and you have some unexplainable things happen? But I know when it's a this life thing. So that's what I do first. And then if they say, well, I want to explore because of A, B, and C, and
Mm.
they decide, or I can advise them on if it's really going to help them in some way, um, more than they can get the help in the present life. Because if it's present life stuff, work on the present life stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then I take people through, I call it the Brian Weiss method. I take them through 2 to 3 past lives and a life between life.
That's what I did. That's what I did. That, as I say, that changed my perspective a lot. It was life changing, to say the least. So, let me ask you a question before we get too far. I guess it was your assistant that sent me the email. Um,
Hmm.
okay. She sent me a link, and I clicked on it, and it had to do your bio and everything. And I noticed that you had 3 steps to dealing with anxiety. I guess before, during, and after. Um, I want to talk about that too as well. But if you just go ahead and finish what you were saying before, and then we'll get into the anxiety part because that affects me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's what I had to say about PLRs. I mean, they are life changing for people. I
Mm.
mean, I've been through several myself. With my daughter with autism, like I wanted to know, like, like what is the deal with this? I think early on in my life, in my 20s, I had, had my daughter in my 20s, and she was born early. She was
Mm.
24 weeks, and it was just one challenge after another. And I was feeling really sorry for myself and down on myself and mad at myself. I was just like, I can't even have a baby right. Like millions of people have babies. Like, why can't I do that? So my question was, why can't I do these things right? Like something simple like that. And why me? I try to do everything right. So in a past life regression years later, um, I discovered that my daughter and we've been together for many lives, and she's taken care of me. I've taken care of her. And one particular time in a regression that um, I had polio, and she was my nurse.
Oh wow.
And when I remember that experience, because my whole left side was paralyzed, like it was. I even came out, I was almost coming out when I was talking to the practitioner who was helping me. I was like, there's tingling on my left side, and she cleared it. And when I came out, I was just like, wow. So that was an eye-opening experience for me to let go of this feeling sorry for myself or blaming me as if I couldn't do anything right. What I realized is that this is what I agreed to do with and for my daughter, or we agreed to do this with and for each other. There is no blame, there was nothing wrong. This is an agreement. Our souls wanted to experience these physical um, and I'm going to use the word disability or physical uh, challenges for our souls to learn and grow. And
Mm.
we decided that we were going to do these things together. And we had many lives doing these together. I don't know why we picked those, why we had to come in with those things, and even being choosing to be an African American woman was part of um, the challenge.
Hmm.
And so for my daughter now, she's, female, African American, and has autism. So and I'm like, dude, you picked three things? Like, you're a brave soul. When people say that you're a brave soul, you have to remember what they chose to go through. And past life regressions will help you understand some of those choices that you made.
Hmm.
And especially if you're doing it within for um, someone else. When I do PLRs with people, and some of the first things I ask them, are you alone or with others? If they say with others, I go look around and see if there's anybody else that you recognize in your current life. Have you, does this energy feel familiar? Have you felt them before? And many times they say, yeah, this is my father, and he's my son in my current life, or this is my aunt, and I had a problem with her in this life. We don't get along, and we still don't get along in this life. So there's those things like that come up. So that gives people some knowledge about where they've been and why they chose those lives. I also ask them, what's the theme of this life? Like, before they, when they're at the death scene and, they separate from the body, um, I ask them, we do a little life review.
Hmm.
So what did you learn in this lifetime? What was the theme of the life? Because there's a theme in every life,
Right.
something that you're supposed to go through, whatever the challenge uh, that you had to overcome, or whatever it is that you were to learn. Did you get it? And how can it help you now in your current life? Is there anything good, amazing, any knowledge that you can bring back to your current life that can help you?
Well,
So that's how I do them.
well, it seems like everyone that I meet when I do this, they all influence my character because I get to see how other people react to certain things and how they live their lives. And so I try to take a little bit of that and apply it to my own life. So when I see someone like yourself who's taken something that, a lot of people would just break down, they wouldn't be able to handle it, and you just tackle it and move on. You do what you're supposed to do. Well, that's that's brought positivity to me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you got to overcome, because it's like, well, I knew I had to do something. It's like it was this little kid.
Right, right.
And then, but then I was feeling so bad about myself. It's just like, okay, so, when you start asking, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? So it was just confirmed there. And there were some other things I had gone through, Kyle,
Mm,
with because I've been in the spiritual community for a lot of years. So I had this past life regression was one of the things that I had done.
mhm.
And then I did a journey with a shaman.
Nice.
So, and she confirmed it. She's like, well, you and your daughter had this. And I never talked to her about the regression that I had. So she just confirmed it right there. She was like, well, you and your daughter have been together for many lives, and this is what you guys decided to do. She was your nurse in another life. And I was like, yeah, that was it. Then I knew it, then I knew it. So, and then I had another experience where, um, you know, Jasmine, or my daughter's name is Jasmine, was with me in at another time. At another time we were sisters. So
Mm,
we've been together for many, many lifetimes,
awesome. Well,
just getting confirmed in different ways.
you are an example to people, and your character shines. So I think that's part of why you go through what you do, is that you help people to progress.
Well, thank you. That's, I think, not I think, like, I know that's why I'm here. I know that I've been through all of that pressure that I've been through as a child. It's like making a diamond. Diamonds
Exactly.
are,
That popped
they're
right into
made
my head.
under pressure. It's like you get the biggest and the shiniest from the most pressure.
Exactly.
And, thank God I didn't crack into a million pieces, but I often felt like that.
Yeah. I know
And I
what you mean.
think that you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like I can crack into a million people pieces, or I can be one big shiny diamond. I'm gonna go for the one big shiny one.
Well, in a world where it seems like everybody's just kind of out for themselves, I'm not everyone, but it's kind of a common theme. Everybody's just about themselves. What what brings you to the point where you want to help people and not just, keep to yourself? Why do you want to help people?
Well, Kyle, it's like a lot of times I do want to keep to myself. Like I didn't plan to do this work. I was called to do it.
Hmm.
It's like I never understood that expression before. Like, a kid sitting in church and people's like, she was called to do it. He was called to do that. I didn't get it until how I was called is I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was, I was obsessed with doing this work. I was obsessed with learning. The more I learned, the more I wanted to teach it. The more I read, the more I wanted to share it. It was, it was like I couldn't help myself. So that to me is that's a calling.
Oh
It
yeah,
wasn't
definitely.
like today I'm going to be I think I'm going to be a coach, or I'm going to be a hypnotherapist, I'm going to be a counselor. I never set out to do that. I thought I was going to have this amazing career in the military. It was a good career, but it didn't make me happy. The work that I'm doing now makes me happy. And even though sometimes it's hard, because I work with people that have hard shit that has gone on in their life,
Yeah.
that have experienced um, real pain, heartache. And you and I talked about that a little bit. So I had to make myself strong so I can hold the energy for the people that I'm helping. Otherwise, I'd be right down in there with them.
Hmm.
So there were times when I told my husband, I quit. I don't want to do this work anymore. It's too hard. You know, because I would go to bed with the images of, like, I could see, feel, know exactly what they went through, because I'd be right there with them, when they're in hypnosis and they're fighting whatever demon that has pulled them down to this low vibration. I would be right in there with them. So I had to learn along the way how to um, disconnect from it so that I can really help them through it. But there were times I was just like, I don't want to do this work anymore.
Well, you're invested in that person, so
And
it's no wonder. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
invested in the person, and also being empathic. Um, as I did this work, I got more and more open. And you and I talked about your friend who's a psychic medium. So am I. I didn't set out to be that either. It was, I everybody has the ability to do it, but the more work I've done, the more open I became. So I'd
Mhm.
be working with somebody in hypnosis and their Uncle Jim would show up.
Don't tell me my Uncle Jim is here.
Do you have an Uncle
I
Jim?
have an Uncle Jim.
Okay, so Uncle Jim is probably here. So I'm feeling that right now. Uncle Jim is probably here helping you, because I that's what usually happens. I usually say somebody's name.
Okay.
So, and that person usually will show actually standing over my right shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So is your Uncle Jim connected on your mother's side?
No, on my father's
On
side.
your father's side? Okay.
He's actually not a blood relative, but he
Uh-huh.
was so close to the family. He was and always will be my Uncle Jim.
Okay. All right, Uncle Jim. I have an Uncle Jimmy, but they usually would come in to help observe, help. They would either come in to observe or they would help with the healing.
Okay.
So, like all of these different things that I've experienced, when I first experienced them, they were scary to me and I wanted to quit. I would just say, I don't want to do it anymore. It's too scary. Things are following me home. From,
I know exactly what
so
you mean.
yeah. So, anyways, that's my story with, how do I keep doing this? When people quit, it's because I was called to do it. I was born to do this work. And there's many times when I think about what else do I want to do, could I do, and I come back here because this is what I'm good at, and I've helped so many people.
It's
Like, I mean, I don't know, how do you even start a business like this? I don't even know how it even started, Kyle. It just
well, it's just one of those things. When it's meant to be, the universe sets things in motion, and it happens. And let me stress the people that are watching or listening to us. Just because we preach a lot of positivity, don't think that negativity doesn't creep in every once in a while. We have those moments when we're ready to give up, but something kind of reminds us why we do what we do. So, hey, we're gonna
absolutely.
fall sometimes. We're
All
not
the
perfect
time.
all the time. All
All
the
the
time.
time.
We're not perfect.
Um, so I tell my clients, when they come in for help,
Hmm.
and I go, this is not a one and done. This is not okay. You feel good right now. We went through 8 weeks. You feel good right now. This is a continuous, um, ever applying these tools. What I did was give you tools
Yeah,
for the journey. You're the carpenter or the creator of your life. You have tools because you're going to have those up and downs, those high waves and low waves. Life is like a heartbeat, like that. So
hmm,
it will as long as you are living and breathing, it's going to be ups and downs.
that's right.
It's what you do in the downs, in the low way, in the low part of the wave that counts. That's when you pull out your tools from your tool belt. It's like, okay, I'm in this low wave right now. What should I be doing? Should I just wait this out or should I be working on myself? And that's where you do the most work.
That's it,
Be-
exactly.
You'll get over this other stuff and then something else will come up. And that's a period of growth in that low wave. So fill your tool belt up with things that you need.
Hey, no pain, no gain, right?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you something. Are you trying to connect with me at the moment?
Connect with you spiritually. We are connected. You mean
Okay.
connect with your no, I am not trying to do that.
Okay. Because every
Are you
time
feeling something?
every time that a
Mhm.
psychic starts to try to read me, I
Mhm.
get butterflies in my stomach, and I'm
Mhm.
kind of like on the edge of that. So that's why I was asking. You have permission, but I'm just asking.
So I am not trying to do that. But if there is, I think something was trying to come in before and I just stopped it when I said Uncle Jim. So I just stopped it because sometimes, like right now, I just don't want to be open right
I don't
now.
blame you. I don't
It's
blame
just like, before coffee, I haven't where
you.
where I can do this and go, Uncle Jim, okay, why are you here? You know,
Well, this is
so
your
yeah,
time anyway. So,
no, we're good. We're good.
but let's get back on the subject of anxiety. 'Cause I say I've dealt with it. Doctors just want to throw medicines at you.
Hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, I take a lot of natural herbs and stuff for that, and I've learned to meditate before I go into a stressful situation. And I've also learned that when things pop up, that there are certain people or even objects that I can focus on to help me deal with anxiety. So Tell us what you do as far as that part of
Helping
what you
people
do.
with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, this goes back a long way because my daughter had debilitating anxiety. Like she didn't want to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
She still deals with it sometimes, but it's not like it was before where we would have to take her to the hospital. It went from anxiety to panic. So I had to learn how to deal with the symptoms. Like, how do we deal with the symptoms of anxiety and panic? And then, because I've had all of this training, it is how to prevent it.
And it
So
feels like a heart attack sometimes. It really
my
does.
husband was taking her blood pressure all the time. And, so I've had anxiety, but not panic,
Mm-hmm.
but I've watched the panic. I've watched people go through panic. But now, okay, so let's separate these two, the the two things. So if you are going through anxiety and panic, that's a symptom of fear, and fear is a symptom of a belief.
Okay.
If you didn't believe it, you wouldn't feel it, and if you didn't feel it, you wouldn't have the behavior or symptom. So many times the doctors they're giving you medication because they're treating the symptom. That's what doctors do. Many times they don't trace it back to the source.
Exactly.
So first you want to do is thing is if somebody is I've gotten calls from people that says, from my sister when at the height of COVID, she was like, my nephew was having panic attacks all the time. I said, put him on the phone. So I took him through this exercise. So here's something you can do. This helps with the symptom. Now, this is not going to rid you in the long term. This is something you can do when you're in it. There is a vagus nerve. The vagus nerve goes from like where your carotid artery is. So it's behind your ear and just down in this middle part on
Mm-hmm.
the right side. And it goes all the way down to your gut. So from here to your gut. So it accesses a parasympathetic nervous system that helps keep you calm.
Okay.
So you can calm yourself by stimulating the vagus nerve. And we do this. There's an organization here in San Antonio called Vet Trip, where we help veterans with PTSD. And this is one of the things we teach them. So you can take the back of your hand you take your right hand, the back of your hand, the hand part, not the fingers, and you're going to put it on the vagus nerve.
Okay.
And then you could do the
Do
rock
the
on or the
devil
hook 'em
sign.
horns.
Yeah. Hook 'em.
And you're going to put them right here at the top of your head on with the left hand.
Okay.
Okay. So Kaya, you want to do so you're doing your fingers, you want to do your hand,
Oh,
this
sorry.
part, this part.
Okay.
Okay. Here, and then you're going to do um, diaphragmatic breathing, three of them. Diaphragmatic breathing is breathing from your belly. You push your belly out. Your chest shouldn't move. So you're going to go belly, rib cage, shoulders, hold it, and then breathe out. So you're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, all while you're doing that. So try that now. When you finish the 3 breaths, you're going to feel so blissed out. So you want to try it together?
Sure.
Okay, so you're going to close your eyes while you're doing it
Okay.
because you don't need to focus on anything. Just take a breath in, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can put your arms down and open your eyes. How do you feel?
I'm dizzy. I'm teasing. No, actually, it is kind of calming. Really is.
When you're
Feel
in
like,
a state, when you're in a state of panic, adrenaline has already shot into your body. Um, and it takes, you just got to wait it out. Once the adrenaline is there and those stress hormones are in the body, you just got to wait until they're not there anymore. Your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, is shooting adrenaline to the heart so the heart can pump faster so blood can get to your extremities for you to run.
mm,
But we don't need that because we're not running from a mountain lion or saber-toothed tiger.
right,
But our body is doing what it was primitively programmed to do.
right.
So once that adrenaline is out of the system, then you can think. So when somebody's in the middle of a panic, you can't say things to them like, calm down. That makes it worse,
Right.
doesn't
Stop
it?
telling me that.
Yeah, stop. You don't want to do that. You want to have them focus on you. It's like, look at me, focus on me.
Yeah.
And it usually takes somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes for that adrenaline level to get back down. Okay, so that's treating the symptom. Now, let's get to the cause. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so when we said, so events happen in our lives, and when we're little kids, that event will go right and get stored into our subconscious mind as a belief. Like, it could be good or bad. It doesn't, the subconscious mind doesn't care. So if an event happened like Santa Claus came to your house, so your parents said Santa Claus is coming, and Santa Claus came 3 years in a row, now you're excited. Your belief is there's a Santa Claus. And so that's the event that happens. The belief is Santa Claus gives me presents. The feeling is good. So the behavior is I will go to sleep so Santa can come. So that's the progression of things. So also events in your life like, every time I got an F, I got a spanking or whipping. So the belief, that's the event. So the belief is I will get punishment. I will be punished, or I'm not smart enough, so I get punished.
Mm,
So that could be a belief. And then you have a feeling around there, and the feeling is fear. And when fear comes along, whatever behavior you your personality develops. Some people will fight, some people will run. It's going to be fight, flight, or freeze. It's going to be one of those things.
right.
So when it's going to be um, some combination of that. You know how some people like have attitude right away?
Mm-hmm.
It's like attitude right away. It's probably because something happened to them when they were kids, or some people shut down right away, probably because something happened to them as a kid, or some people like not deal with it. I'm just not going to deal with it. That's a form of flight. I'm just not going to deal with it. That's a behavior because of this event that happened. So these events that happen when we're kids, we don't know how to deal with stuff. So we develop these skill sets as children to deal with what's going on with us at the time.
Right.
So if we learn one of those F's, fight, flight, or freeze, to deal with it, then we we don't change those skill sets, then we just cut and paste them into our adult life. And we're using inadequate, irrelevant skills to deal with our adult issues. And as children, we were powerless. We depended on the adults in our lives to take care of us. And if they didn't do a good job, then we had to learn coping skills. And if we were afraid, we had to figure out how not to be afraid because there was nobody there to help us.
Right.
Nobody's there to help me be afraid, or I can't tell anybody I'm afraid, or it's not safe to talk about this, or whatever that is. Those coping skills come around it. It doesn't mean that the problem is solved. It just means that you have some kind of coping skills. So when we get older, that issue is still there in the subconscious mind. And then we get triggered. And then that feeling comes up, that fear comes up. And if that coping you have, it's like, okay, I got to deal with this. I don't know how to deal with it. And your 7-year-old self is like, okay, we don't deal with it. Remember? We just shut down. And you don't like that feeling because your body's trying to react to it. So it's shooting the stress hormone into your body. And hello, now I have panic and now I have anxiety. It is because of the stuff that is stored, the things that you weren't able to deal with in a healthy way is being triggered over and over. That fear response is being triggered. So how do you deal with that? You deal with the event. You deal with the cause or the belief. The event won't change. If something happened to you as a child, you have to go back to to the beliefs that are around the event, and their beliefs like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, um, I have to obey or I'll suffer. I should have been a boy or a girl. Um, Life's not fair. This always happens to me. Nobody loves me. I'm abandoned. All of those kinds of things. Those are beliefs. And when those beliefs are triggered by something, so if somebody cuts you off in traffic, then somebody cuts you off in traffic, they have triggered a belief in you. What? I'm not good enough to be in this lane?
Right.
You didn't see me? I'm insignificant. So it has nothing to do you with you. That's somebody's just being an idiot in traffic. That's all about them. But we internalize it as it's something they did to us. What they did was trigger our belief.
Mm.
Why are people always cutting me off? They're always getting in front of me. They never use their blinkers. Well, where else in your life have you felt like that? Have you felt insignificant, small, unseen? Probably when you were 4, 7, 6, 10.
Several
Does that make
times.
sense?
Several times.
Yeah. So that's all of these reactions we have as adults come from our core negative beliefs or things that we have developed, these beliefs that don't serve us because they're not true. They're just things that we concluded about ourselves because we were children and we use a child's logic to come up with, well, something must be wrong with me if dad is never here.
Mm.
If I can't get this math problem, then I must be stupid. If mom isn't home all the time, then I must not be lovable. She doesn't love me. So we conclude all these things about ourselves and we don't see that people are just struggling through their own shit. And
Right.
they don't know how to take care of their own self. How can they take care of us as kids?
Yeah.
Is so that's a long way of getting around to why we have anxiety.
Okay.
But does it make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. You talked about how you feel like you're almost not there, and people aren't listening. They're not seeing you. I've had those dreams where I'd be screaming or crying or trying to get everybody's attention, and people just walk by and ignore me. So I kind of put those hand in hand. Is I'm
Yeah.
having that feeling. That's why I'm having those dreams. Hmm.
Yep. Because it's a belief that's resurfacing and
Right.
it shows up in your life in different ways, even in traffic. Or you go to a restaurant and your server doesn't come when it's like, where's my server?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need my check right now. Or you go get your car serviced and you're waiting. long, so it keeps showing up in your life in different ways, and you internalize that as I'm not good enough, or I'm insignificant, or nobody sees me.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
What
definitely.
we do is we create our lives, we create our outer life from our inner beliefs. We only see what we believe. So, in order to change our life, we have to change what we believe about ourselves, changing what we deserve, what we believe we deserve. We change who we think, believe who we are. Okay, so Kyle, I grew up in a family of 13 kids. You think my mom had time to show each of us individual love and affection?
I don't see how she'd been able to.
I would get a slap before I got a hug. My mom
Mm.
was tired. I didn't understand. I
I'm
didn't
tired
understand
for
that.
her.
Like, we understand it now as adults, but I didn't as a child. I'm just like, as a child, I'm just like, I didn't ask to be here. I'm your child. Why don't you love me? What do I need to do for you to see me? So I became an overachiever to
Okay,
get noticed, attention. See, mom. And it still didn't seem to make a difference to my mother. Like, she never showed up to my track meets, to my assemblies, watch me come do these things that I was doing, that I thought that I was doing for myself. But after all the work that I've done on myself, I realized I was doing them for her. And when I still didn't get what I needed from her, I would seek it out in other things or in other people.
I know exactly.
But at the end of the day, I wanted it from her.
Right.
So I resented her. I hated her. All of those things. Guess who guess who guess who got the bad stuff though after all the hate? I did. I got the cancer. And mom went on to be, she didn't change when I got cancer.
Mm.
So I knew that I had to change me
Yeah.
and change how I looked at life. It wasn't about somebody else's approval of me. It was my approval of me. And all those things that I believed about myself, none of those things were true.
Gotcha. So, I would like to ask you a little bit more about the cancer part, but before we do that, I want to talk about PTSD. And a lot of people attribute that to just soldiers and people that have been in action like that. They don't understand there's people like myself who have gone through some pretty traumatic things in my childhood that triggered the PTSD. Is that just like a higher form of anxiety, or how do you explain that?
It is. It's the S in PTSD is stress.
Right.
So it is, the subconscious mind doesn't know geography. It doesn't know time. It doesn't, all it's doing is pulling from stored memories, stored beliefs. It's pulling from that. Our subconscious mind is like a big storage unit, and or big library. A library is a better example. So it's a library. So it's a book that's stored there. When you've experienced trauma, that is there's two well, okay there's two ways things get stored in the subconscious mind. From a profound event, it can just be one time, or it can be multiple times, frequency. Those are the things that get stored. It's just like fire on this, like you only have to burn your hand one time for you to know and remember that fire is hot. Or it can be repetition. It happens over and over and over and over and over, and then it is a habit, or it is a stored memory because it has to be stored, or a stored event that causes this belief. Like, your name is Kyle, your name is Kyle, your name is Kyle. So now I believe that my name is Kyle because that's been said to me multiple times. So the subconscious mind accepts it. The same thing with traumatic events. It only has to happen one time, or it can happen multiple times, but it's profound enough to be stored there. And if it's something that is traumatic, you're on alert because it hurt you. It's our natural body's defense to defend that, to defend from it. Just like we talked about the saber-toothed tiger before, our body is doing what it is supposed to do. So the mind, the subconscious mind and the conscious mind work differently. So your subconscious mind is reactive, and the conscious mind has to catch up with it. Your subconscious mind is pulling data at the split seconds. Hey, be on alert, be hyper vigilant, like this. And then your conscious mind has to say, oh, we're just in HEB,
Right.
or we're just in Whataburger right now.
I never
But you're,
have stress in a Whataburger.
but if something triggered that memory of an event,
Mhm.
it wouldn't matter where you are, because your mind is doing what it's supposed to do, trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you safe. So what I do with people in hypnosis is kind of like what I do with phobias. When people have phobias, it's exposure to the event. So if they're afraid of dogs, it's like you can do exposure to that, and I can do that with imagery in hypnosis. So if I was taking you through an event with PTSD, it depends on what it is also. So for, let's say, for abuse, if it was physical abuse, what I would do is empower you. I would have you, what do you normally do? I would say to the child, if they would normally run, I would have them fight in hypnosis. It's
Okay.
like, what do you want to do? I want to run. Or I want to, or they would just be still and hide. They would go, I'm too little, I can't. So I would empower them, do the opposite of what they would normally do. If they would run, no, we're going to fight. If you would freeze, no, we're going to fight right now. So that empowers them, and they take their power back because they lost power at that time. So then we would do healing over that time, because so many times if they were abused, they couldn't say things that they don't say things, or they couldn't do things. So, and I would just go, what do you want to say? Then they would come up and say all these things that they've been holding in for years, like, I hate you, you're supposed to take care of me, I wish you were dead. Like, they would never say these things, right? But I empower them to say that and do it. If there's a pillow, I have them beat the crap out of the pillow, because they need to get all of this stuff out until they get to a point where, when I say, how do you feel? And they go relieved, then I know we can move on to transforming that hate, that anger, that resentment into love, because that is what's going to heal. But
Right.
they can't move to that step unless they've dealt with these other things. So when we do that, the core transformation, and it's a whole thing. I'm hitting the highlights right now. When we get to the point when they come out of hypnosis, the healing has occurred. And with that goes that belief. We just transform that belief. So guess what? They're not triggered anymore. So they can go to HEB and Whataburger and feel because if y'all don't know, if y'all not in Texas, HEB is our grocery stores
Yep.
here. It's everywhere.
That's
So they
right.
can go and they won't be triggered because we transform that pain.
Okay.
We transform that pain. We transform that fear. We transformed the hate, the hurt into love. It's like melting that belief.
Yeah.
So for soldiers, it's a different story because theirs is geography. and where they are. Well, it's not really a different story. It's still dealing with what they went through. So if they hurt other people, killed someone or saw someone killed, we deal with that while they're in hypnosis, and how they feel, all the stuff that they're holding in that they can't talk about. So we deal with the fear in hypnosis, and we could deal with a lifetime of it in 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
It's really, really, it's amazing, effective. In 2 hours over 8 sessions, though,
Yeah.
because we'll be peeling back layers of memory, emotion, and belief, peeling them back, transforming them. And it takes more than one session, but you can get a lot done in one session to help people with PTSD.
I know for myself, the only way to describe it is that when something triggers me, my reaction is irrational. It's not it's not something normal. What I don't understand is how, okay, I can go to, say, the 4th of July picnic or whatever, and they shoot fireworks. I freak the hell out. I don't know why. I've never had anything as far as fireworks go that freak me out, but they freak me out. If I get in a crowd and there's too many, or even in a room where too many people are talking at one time, I freak the hell out. But I can go to the gun range and I can fire off as many shots as I want. People next to me don't bother me. I'm actually calm. But if somebody was to shoot a gun out in public and I wasn't expecting it, I freak the hell out.
So there's probably different reasons for that. So I don't want to say, hey, this is what's happening with you.
Mhm.
I would put you in hypnosis and I would ask you
Okay. But have
because,
you heard of that before? Where,
yeah, I mean, there's something you are associating that with something that is harmful to you.
mhm,
But what is it? The association with loud noises and guns is something that's giving you it, you have a fear of it because there's a belief. You only fear it. Fear is just the emotion that comes from the belief. What's the belief?
I got you. So because I don't have the same feelings as I do when I'm not expecting it, I'm more in a controlled environment. I'm fine. I could be
Interesting.
there all
So
day and no
so
problem.
finish this sentence. When I hear loud, when I hear what was the when I hear loud fireworks, it makes me feel so.
I feel very anxious and uh, well, I mean, basically that's what I feel. A
So
higher,
I feel anxious when I hear fireworks, and that makes me feel like I am.
I don't have control.
That's the issue right there. So what we just did is okay, Kyle. So now I'm getting goosebumps right now. So I am feeling whatever's going on. So where have you felt in your life, either now or as a child, where something was going on and you didn't have control? You don't have to tell me, but just is there a place, or ask yourself, where have I felt where I didn't have control and it was a problem?
Well, I don't mind telling you. I've tried to stay very transparent with the audience because I feel like there's somebody out there that's dealing with the same things. So I want them to know they're not alone.
Mhm.
I told you before that when we were off air that I was molested by my father. I had no control. And also when I was in school or even coming home, I would be bullied by these gangsters, and so I had no control.
Mhm.
So
So anytime you are in a situation, Kyle, where you believe you don't have control, you're triggered.
gotcha.
So what we just did was this, it's called sentence stem completion. First you get the emotion, then you use the emotion to figure out the belief. So
Hmm.
you start with what's going on. You said, when people are firing off shots, first we use the fireworks, but let's do it again. When people are when I'm in a crowd of people, it makes me feel so.
Anxious,
And when I
nervous.
think about that, that makes me feel like I am.
I have no control.
Okay. So that's exactly how you figure out what the core negative belief is. First, we said makes me feel so. That's figuring out what the emotion is. And that makes me feel like I am. That's the belief.
I know when I try to explain to people, because they're like, I don't know how you can feel that way when you're around fireworks, but you don't feel that way when you're at the gun range. Well, now that makes sense that I don't have control when I'm out there, but when I'm at the gun range, even though people are next to me shooting off guns, I feel like I have control there.
But you have a gun too, so you
Oh,
can
yeah.
protect yourself, can't you?
Oh, of course.
That's you have some control and you have some power. When you were bullied, somebody took power from you.
Right.
Holding a gun, is that powerful?
It does feel powerful at
Yeah.
times. Yes.
You have a weapon, you can protect yourself. Bullies are bullies because they lost power somewhere. So they go and take it from somebody else. Doesn't work, but that's why people bully. If you think about it,
Yeah.
that the bullies that were the gangsters that were bullying you were being bullied
Gotcha.
from
That makes
whoever they
sense.
were told to go and do some, go and harass those kids, go rob those kids, and if you don't, you will get this is going to happen to you.
Yeah. That makes sense. Really
So
does.
you, my friend, by having a weapon, were feeling powerful. That's why I said in hypnosis, I empower the person. If they felt bullied or out of control or victimized in a way, and I go, what do you want to do right now? And they go, run. I go, nope. I don't give them a weapon though, but I empower them. People have when I go, people have said that. I go, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to shoot them. It's like, okay, we're not going to shoot them. What else can you do?
Well, and the thing is, and let me stress, it's a firearm, not a weapon. Um,
Well, I'm military. That's what we call them,
oh, okay.
weapons. Law enforcement says firearm.
Oh,
I
well,
don't know. We call them weapons.
I'm I'm a hard head, so real
Look.
NRA guy.
Hmm.
But we're also taught that's the last thing that you need to reach for is your gun. You wanted to try to avoid the situation altogether, try to leave, and I control myself very well, which is kind of surprising, being that I usually react in an irrational manner. But I I have that control, I guess.
But
I know not
that's
to
not
go
even the
grab it.
point.
Yeah.
That you're not. That's the point. Is you feel protected is how you feel, not what you're going to do. Like you don't have to do anything if you feel protected.
Mm-hmm. True.
You don't have to go to the behavior. It's just like, how do you feel? Remember, the feeling determines the behavior. It's it's the event that causes the belief. The belief will cause the feeling will cause the behavior. If you feel protected, then you're not going to go shoot people. Why? Because you're not going to your behavior is, I'm good right here.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't come in my space, I'm good right here.
Right. Right. Well, which I have to say, I'm glad that we do these podcasts because I feel like we can help empower people with the advice and being able to talk it out. But please, if you're watching this, you're listening to this, you find somebody you can talk to. Don't live in that cocoon. Don't go through life scared or always full of anxiety. Find somebody to talk to, please.
or start your own group.
Exactly.
One of the things I did with several of the women that I've coached, like I said, life is a heartbeat. You still going to have the tough times. It's just now you have some tools to deal with them. One of the things I did was I started a text group. And so in the military, we call them battle cries.
Hmm.
So like when Marines say "hua," or no, Marine. I'm sorry. Oh, my husband heard me say that. Soldiers say "hua," Marines say "ura." That's a battle cry. That's a sign of a cry of solidarity, right?
Hmm.
So my group is called Anahata. That is that means unbroken. It's the Sanskrit word for heart chakra,
Okay.
which means unbroken. So when somebody texts in that group Anahata, we rally around them. That means that it's their battle cry is I need help, I need solidarity, I need support. Now the women that are in this group, they have they've had training from me and they have tools, but they're not but and they're still regular people. You can do something, just anybody can do this. Regular people that support you, that are going to be there. And they're not going to judge you. Don't get Aunt Susie if she's always going to judge you. That's not who you want.
Yeah, I have a cousin like that.
That's not who you want in the group. They mean well,
Yeah.
they just don't know how to support you. They want to tell you not to feel. Don't feel like this, which is the worst thing you can do. You
Right.
allow people to feel and
Yes.
say, go ahead and feel, go ahead and cry, go ahead and shout. I'm going to be right here holding you, holding the energy with you. So if you don't have a group like that, start one of your own. See if there's anybody who would want to be in a text group with you, that in the middle of the night at 1 in the morning, that they will answer a text. So if there's 5 people that just say, hey, can we do this little text group? Some people say prayer groups or whatever. I just call mine the battle cry group.
Right.
And then you have a support system, right? You have somebody that you have people that you can say, I'm falling apart right now. I don't know what to do.
Yes.
And somebody they may just have the right words that you need to hear right now that says, I'm with you. I got you. You're okay. Go ahead, cry it out or yell it out.
Hmm.
But be here in the morning.
Exactly. Exactly.
Be here in the morning. It's going to pass. Be here in the morning because I'll be here. So, doing that, anybody can do that, right?
Yes. Well, I can't stress enough how important it is to feel the feelings. I
Feel the feelings.
I tried to hide my feelings away, or I would self medicate to suppress those feelings. And the only other way to describe it is if you've got a dam and that dam is getting filled up
Oh,
and filled up,
goodness.
before
Yeah.
you know it, when it breaks loose, then you cause more damage.
Then it's all damn.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
You,
Feel the feelings.
exactly. You have to, and
Hmm.
because you will react in a way that is not rational. Hold things in, and then I exploded towards the people around me. Uh, some people, and I've done this in the past. You try to kill yourself, or you want to hurt other people. So
Yeah.
feel but have somebody you can talk to.
Yeah. I think other people, I think people believe that nobody wants to talk to them or they don't have anyone. And then when they hurt themselves, they find that that loved one will say, well, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you tell me I'm here? So
Hmm.
you have people in your lives that just try it. Just try and talk to them. Just say, hey, I need help. Could you
Hmm.
talk to me? Could you listen?
And that's what also people need to realize is sometimes you just need somebody that will listen. You don't need advice, you just need somebody to
Just
listen.
listen.
With
It's like,
my kids come to me, my first reaction was to give them advice when all they want to do is just get it off their chest. They don't want to
yep,
hear advice, just hear what I'm saying.
yep.
So,
So I hear you. That's one of the things that I had to teach my husband who likes to, and I think that is maybe that's a male thing, is that men are taught or reared to fix things, problem
mhm.
solvers. They have to know the answers to everything, and that's a hard that's hard
It's
for,
difficult.
yeah. So what if you don't know the answer? What do you do? So many times I tell my husband, I'm just like, I just need you to listen. Don't try to, I don't need you to fix it. I'll figure it out, but I need to get it out.
Mhm.
That's what the text group is. It's like you need to get it out. It's
Yes.
like, okay, get it out. So feel it.
It gets
Feel it.
annoying when people want to ask you a million questions when you're trying to just tell them something.
Yeah.
Don't ask me nothing. Just listen to what I have to say.
That's good that you can say that. Don't ask me anything. Just find a person that you can just you have that with. Just like, okay, we're going to be this for each other. It's like I can just tell you stuff, and you don't have to ask me. I just need you to listen. Can you do that for me?
Mhm.
And if they have something, they should ask permission. Permission. Can I tell you this? Well, can I share something with you? Sharing a story of your own sometimes helps if
Mhm.
they're open to it.
Yes.
And especially if they don't know that it happened to you, then
Mhm.
they just go, oh, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in that. That happened to you too.
Well, anybody that's watching or listening, I don't. I'm going to tell you straight up. I am not a counselor. I'm not a therapist, but I will do my best to hear what you have to say. If you just want to message me, if I can't help you, I'm going to point you in the right direction. But we also, when we have people like Dee come on, we leave the links in the description, so you can go to their websites. If you can contact them, get the professional help that you need. Don't let this build up, please. I'm begging you. I don't want to see anybody hurt themselves.
Mhm.
I've been through it one too many times. Once is one too many times.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I lost my father, I lost my brother, I lost a couple of my best friends,
Mhm.
all to suicide, and that's a pain that I have not gotten rid of.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, how can people get a hold of you if they need help and they want to ask you for help?
Sure. Deewoolridge.com is my website. All my social media is Dee Woolridge. I know Woolridge. I married into that name. Woolridge. You could just Google me, and my information will come up. I do courses on anxiety. There's actually a free course that I have that helps people with fear and anxiety. It's called Kick Fear in the Face.
Ooh, all right.
So that is because we talked about taking our power back.
Yes.
So it's a free course, just, and it is kickfear.dwoolridge.com. So if you're dealing with stress and anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, you can take this course. And and if you leave comments in the course, I answer. If
Awesome.
you send me a email, I answer. If you have questions about anything, or if you need that, you can ask information, or you can ask, and I will answer. So you can connect with me that way.
Well, like I
Kick
said,
fear in the face. Kickfear.dwoolridge.com.
awesome. And please, and we will leave these links in the description, as I said, so you can just click on it and go straight to the website. And if you don't want me to help, you don't want Dee to help, find somebody. Find somebody, please. So,
Find somebody. And there's loads of books out there. I mean, I
oh
can
yeah.
just, oh, okay. So I wrote a book called, Wait, look, in my own
You wrote a
defense,
book.
I wrote 6 books. So I'm trying to see which one. The Resilient You is about staying, remaining resilient and helping with anxiety. There's about 17 tips in that book to
Hmm.
help you with anxiety. It's available on Amazon. If you want to learn to forgive, there's a book by Colin Tipping called Radical Forgiveness. If you don't like things about yourself that you don't know how to overcome, there's a book called Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. There's so many books out there. If you don't have anybody to talk to, the books that I'm telling you about have exercises in them. So it's like you're buying a coach, like this book here.
Mm.
You know, you read a chapter, you do the exercise. You read another chapter, you do the exercise. And the same thing with Radical Forgiveness. And for my book, um,
Is it on the website?
yes, it's on my website. The Resilient You has exercises. All the books that I have exercises in them. The workshop, the free workshop is exercises in them. So you're not going through it. You're not just reading and just throwing the book down. You're actually doing the work. That's what's going to change you, is you doing the work.
Well, your physical body needs exercise, but your emotional and your spiritual, your consciousness, all of these need exercise.
Yeah.
They're going to be strong. They all do.
So go to the website, deewoolridge.com. There's a lot of free things on the website that you can just download. You know, there's worksheets on if you're a people pleaser, if you need to get rid of toxic people in your lives, if you have limiting beliefs on how to overcome them, those are free. All you have to do is download them on the website. So deewoolridge.com. Lots of cool stuff there.
Well, thank you, Dee. I appreciate you being on the show. And once again, we will leave up those links. Seek her out, and if not her, as we said before, find somebody.
Somebody.
Don't be afraid to lean on somebody, because we all need someone.
We do. We all
Mhm.
need somebody
Somebody to
to
lean
lean
on.
on. Y'all didn't know y'all were getting a concert today, did you?
And so either get help or I will continue to sing. And oh, we do have a show. It's called The Darkest Hour to the Brightest Day, where I have somebody on there who's my co host, and he is an ex con. He's changed his life around. He's trying to help people with not only mental health problems, but, you know, when you're hooked on drugs or you're in the gang life, he's trying to help people turn their lives around. And so this is all part of our mental health uh, collaboration. So we have Listen to the Vibes and we have the Darkest Hour shows. Got people on there that can give you some great advice. Please, please, please listen, help someone, pass this along. Somebody out there needs to hear it. And I thank everybody that listens or watches us. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Woolridge. Do I call you Doctor?
You could just call me D.
D?
Yep.
Okay. D. D is my new friend.
Yep, we are friends, Kyle. Neighbors. We're just neighbors from down the street.
Just about. I mean, what, 45 minutes to an hour away?
That's
That's
right.
close. So Thank you again. Thanks to everyone. Stay tuned. We got plenty of things coming up that I'm sure you're going to either find enjoyable or helpful. Until the next one. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, because it's only through your support that we're able to continue doing the things that we do. And until the next one, have a great day.